Oh, Adora! Hold on, I'm putting on my gloves real quick, okay? Give me a second. Give me a second, alright? I'm currently trying to fight my gloves. Hi! Hello? Hello, everybody! Do you see the link that I've pinned? Did you see the link that I've pinned? If you've missed it, you know, it's the pinned message. You might want to go take a look. I'll probably talk about it in a bit. But, okay. Let me just double check everything is good. Okay. So, let's just get on with it, shall we? Okay, okay. By the way, let me just move this closer. Do I sound any different? I would like to know. Let me just transition. Do I sound any different? I'm so scared that you can somehow see my face in this. But do I sound any different? Let me know. Let me know what you think. I have my audio a little bit. No! You need to say you sound really different. You need to say you sound really different, okay? Or I'm gonna be really sad. I tweaked my audio settings. I had a audio thing consult earlier. No, I had an audio consult earlier, so I had it with like I had it with Miori Celesta, and yes, I think your voice sounds like broader. You guys are making me sad. You're making me sad. You do sound really different. Okay, that's good. Okay, even if you guys don't think that there's any difference, I think there's difference, and that's all that matters, okay? Anyways, I have my matcha with me. Wow, and I have the milk over here too. In case you guys didn't see that. I think you can kind of like, yes. All right. Anyways, she does great audio consultation. She does. She really does. She is a wizard, and she made she like tweaks the settings according to your voice. So for some people, they have deeper voices, right? And sometimes they enunciate the fuck out of their s's, a little bit like I do. So anyway, sorry. Let's not get distracted now. So this is my matcha. It's not the good kind. I'll say this right now, the matcha that's inside, so the tin is from a different place. I got this in Tokyo. I'm pretty sure I got this in Asakusa. All right, sorry, let me just do that. I got this in Asakusa, but I finished it, and so I decided to recycle the tin. And so the tin, the matcha powder that's inside, it's not ceremonial grade, it's culinary grade. Which there's nothing wrong with culinary grade, by the way, but it's also like shitty culinary grade matcha. So anyways, so that's your matcha. This is your whisking bowl. I've already put in a little bit of honey. I think you can see in there. Well, maybe not actually. So I've already put in a little bit of honey, which is your sweetener. So this is your scoop. I don't know what they call it in Japanese, doesn't matter. So you want to get about like 3 to 4 scoops of this much. Don't know if you can see like that. Let's just put that in your sift. Okay, let's get about like that. Maybe a little bit more. I don't want to have too much caffeine, or like I will buzz and not be able to sleep, and also my face will feel like it's dying, but about that much, I think. Let's just see. Okay, about this much matcha. Correct. And so you just start like scraping your spoon in, start sifting it in. I don't know if you can kind of tell what's going on. Let me just like do that for you so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, so just sift through. I don't know how many grams that is. I feel like I've put in a little bit too much, so I'm just gonna take some out. But basically, why you want to do this is because sometimes the matcha will clump together after a while, so they will have like bigger clumps. And so if you want to have it be more finely, like obviously you don't want to have matcha to have clumps, right? Because then it's gonna be hard to drink. So you can kind of see that they have like bigger like clumps in there, so you just keep sifting until there's not much else left, until like there's just the bits here, and you can just put it back in kind of like that, right? And let me just set this to a side. I did not really think this through very clearly. Anyways, so, and I have my chasen here. If you can see it, this is the bamboo whisk that most people will use for whisking their matcha. What you want to do before you make your matcha, at least, is you want to soak your chasen, which is this thing, in warm water. Don't soak it in boiling water. At least like just lukewarm temperature, around 65 degrees would be good. So about 65 to 70 degrees Celsius of water. Soak it in for at least a couple of minutes before you whisk it in, and it will loosen up the bamboo, like the the spokes and everything. You'll loosen up the spokes and everything, so that will make it so that, you know, it's easier for you to whisk. So this is your matcha, this little bowl. I hope you can see my reflection. You can't. Okay, that's good. So I'm just gonna cap this closed real quick. So this is the matcha inside. The powder is sifted. There's also honey in it. What you want to do, so I have about 100 grams of water. I gotta be real careful. Just gotta put in a little bit, just a tiny bit. I put in too much, but it's okay. And then your whisk. And so what you want to do at first is to mix in the water with the powder and make like a little bit of a paste. So I definitely put in way too much water, which you shouldn't do, but you kind of just want to like slowly just mix it all in so that there's not much clumps. Right? I put in too much water. That's my bad. You should put in like lesser than this. So it should be like a really thick paste. So it should be like really a little bit water. I put in too much by accident. But anyways, you just want to do that until pretty much all, if not all, the clumps are gone. So just slowly do that. Okay, can you see that? Not really, but okay, can kind of see. Obviously the texture for mine isn't very good because again, my matcha isn't very good. Like I got mine from Donkey, okay? Got from my Don Quixote, which was like, it was like $4. So it's not going to be good, okay? And then you wanna get your water, just pour the rest in. Like that. So for the water, I get I use 100 ml of water. So that's about like, okay, so you want to kind of whisk in a W motion. And you want to do this for about 30 seconds, I believe. So let's do that. And sometimes what I like to do is I like to like turn it around. Why did I say third? Turn it around and just keep whisking it in the same pattern. So it's just like a zigzag motion. Like that. And honestly, there's too much foam. So I'm just gonna, okay, about 30 seconds and that's it. And so once that 30 seconds is done, you can see there's a lot of bubbles. So what you want to do is slowly bring your whisk. So your whisk was deeper in, but don't push your whisk in all the way or you'll break the bristles. So just when you whisk it this way, the first time like this, you want to have it so that the bristles don't touch the bottom of the bowl. And now, because you can see there's a lot of bubbles, you kind of want to just slowly bring your whisk up. And I'm not really good at this part, I'll be so honest with you guys. So you just want to slowly whisk it so that the bubbles kind of break up. I'm not very good at this part, I will admit. So sometimes my matcha just still turns out really foamy. Excuse me. So let's continue. Do you want the paste of like brownie batter consistency? So excuse me, hold on, I'm gonna sneeze again. Okay, no, so what's that called? The consistency that you want has to be a little bit thicker, like paint. So can you see that? It's a little bit bouncy as well. I'm not doing a very good job. Number one, I'm not very good at whisking the surface, so it looks worse than it should. But number two, my matcha isn't very good. So okay, you can see kind of like when I swish it around, it looks thicker than water. I mean, obviously it's matcha, but see, when you do that, it's bouncy. And so just keep doing that until you're done. Usually I'll do it until like this. And honestly, my matcha still remains pretty what's that called? Pretty foamy anyways. So, okay. So now you have your matcha bowl, you have your milk. I use oat milk. Oh my god, it's diluted. Hold on. Let me just drink a little bit out of that. You see my reflection? Okay. And then just slowly pour it in. Oh, I didn't use enough matcha. That's why it's not very bright. It's not very dark green. Usually, oh dear. I should not have done that. Usually you want your matcha to be darker green, but I didn't use as much matcha as I should have, and that's my fault. Is this you're making? It's matcha. I don't know if you can kind of tell the color. It's still a good color, don't get me wrong, but it should be deeper than this, and also the straw is really old, so I kind of taste rust a little bit. But it's good. Oh my god. This is really good. I don't think you can see it very well. But yeah, that's how you make matcha. I hope that helped. It's good. Holy shit. It's really good. Okay, I'm gonna put away my tools now. So give me a minute. I gotta go back to the kitchen and like I gotta like wash it all and you know. That's how she became green. Yeah, I drank too much matcha and now I'm green. Okay, so I'll be right back. Give me a minute. All right, I am back. Go back here. So today, what are we doing? I'm gonna explain to you the plot of my favorite, one of my favorite books ever, The Song of Achilles. Actually, let me go get the book right now. Wow. Wow. So this is more of a, well, I wouldn't say an unconventional stream, but like it is kind of unconventional, where I'm gonna be breaking down the plot of the Song of Achilles to you guys. So yeah, like you can kind of see, like I have written in the books, like not as much as I should have. That's to be very honest. What the fuck am I right here? Oh, I wrote here, he's trying to fuck. Oh my god, that's so fucking funny. I wrote here, he's trying to fuck. Echo Chambers Zatsu. Is my filter still on? Wait, what are you talking about? Echo Chamber? Oh wait, you mean like me? Okay, anyways. Lol. This is like, I'll explain this later. But anyways, I have like, little notes in here. I really miss annotating my books. I wanted to do a series of streams where like I annotated my books live, where I like, basically like this, like you can kind of see not really very well. And so for example, here I wrote so this is like a scene and all that, and here I wrote, so I think this is between Achilles and Patroclus, and Achilles is saying, the logs in the fire grew white with ash. It is strange, Achilles said. I have always said that Hector's done nothing to offend me, but he cannot say the same now. And I underlined that, and I said, and so goes another nail in Patroclus's coffin, because the whole reason that Patroclus kind of died was because of kind of because of Achilles, to be honest, because like Achilles was really, really like petty, but also because Hector versus Achilles is definitely gonna die or something, or like someone close to Achilles is gonna die. I don't fucking remember, but you know, I just like I write little notes in here. So one of the things that I wanted to do the most was to annotate a book live. And like basically I would read and it would be like ASMR and shit like that, I guess. And I would like highlight and I would write down and I would explain to you guys perhaps what I'm reading right now, like the passage I'm reading and why I'm underlining things and what I'm underlining. Another yaoi, yeah. Does this have penthesilea? I don't think so, no. But I could be wrong. I don't really remember. But wait, let me see if I can find another book of mine that I have like heavily annotated. Let me just put this to the side. Okay. So I do have another book. This one is pretty good. Like I would say this is a pretty good book too. So this book I have heavily annotated. I don't know if you can tell. I don't know if you can tell. But this book is literary fiction and it is about a woman, like a vampire, like a woman vampire, but in like not in like the Twilight way, you know, not in the Twilight way, in like kind of like she's a normal person, just that like she really wants blood. And she has like the struggles of a normal person, like she's trying to get a job, she tries to work at this gallery, I believe, while trying to fight this hunger inside of her because I believe that, okay, I need to go back and reread it, but I believe that the vampirism that she faces is an like metaphor or an allegory of another thing, but I can't remember what it is. Anyways, like let me see. So like I would underline stuff here. I don't think you can tell very well. Yeah, and I would like highlight as well so you can kind of see. I'm not very talkative in these kinds of books because I just want to like highlight stuff and just like remember that like, oh, I like this a lot, you know. But sometimes I will write more things, but sometimes I may not. Let me see, do I have any? I think I primarily tabbed things in this one or highlighted them. I didn't really write anything down. um oh yeah, like I wrote something here, but it's like something silly. It's not really like analysis, which I need to go back into. I need to analyze things again, I guess. I need to like challenge my brain. I've grown very comfortable. I've grown very comfortable with the idea of like not, you know, I don't know, not challenging myself. I don't know if that's like just me. Sorry, I'm like just okay. I keep apologizing for yapping. I know that this is what you guys are here for. Anyways, as I was saying, wow, this marker is super thin, and I do not like that. I do not like that. Let me see if I can find another marker. I don't think so. Damn. Damn. Anyways, no choice. We have to keep forging on. But honestly, I would be so interested and invested if you did a series of streams annotating various books. Too bad there's no time. Yeah, too bad. I don't know, like I do have a couple of books, so maybe if we wrap this up early enough, I can still do it in a sense, where like, because I have a couple of books that I haven't read finish. Like I have physically unread books. I could probably like, do it on stream, you know. So as I was saying, right, I've realized recently that I have an issue with not challenging myself. I have an issue where I get very comfortable not watching like media that is like upsetting, basically watching or reading or consuming media in general that's upsetting. And by upsetting I mean like not like, oh, like violence and like blood and like guts and all that. That's not what I meant. I meant like any kind of negative emotion. I kind of tend to avoid it. So like sadness, like if I knew that a movie was going to be really 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 sad, instead of watching it I would instead veer away from it. And because of me doing that, it wasn't just like shows, it was like books, it was like, you know, even though I knew I would really enjoy the book, I knew that at the same time it would ruin me because I would get invested and I would get really like upset if anything happened to, you know, the characters that I liked. Obviously that's kind of natural, I feel like. But then because of that I get very comfortable with like not straying out of my comfort zone, and as a result I just, I don't know, I don't really challenge myself or my worldview, you know? I don't really challenge myself or my worldview, which I really should. And I need to expand like my horizons and shit like that. And you know, but that's how things get interesting and where characters grow. I know. And like I have been so obsessed with like not upsetting myself that like I'm not interested in anything anymore. Like I don't watch shows, I don't read books. I've been in a book slump for forever. Like I've been in a reading slump for forever. I haven't been reading, you know. And I feel like it's in part because I stick to what I know. I stick to what I'm like what is comfortable for me. And that could be like romance books, or that could be like the same show over and over and over again. So I need to challenge myself more. I need to step out of my comfort zone, guys. I need to step out of my comfort zone. You know? But yeah, okay. So let's see. Alright, so the plot of the Song of Achilles. Okay, sit down. It's gonna be a long one. Alright, so let's just draw this out. Okay, so the story starts with our boy Patroclus, and let's just try to denote him somehow. I don't know, like let's give him like weird sideburns and a bald spot in the middle. Okay, and let's label him P. Can you see that? Wait, let me just try to sharpen the camera a little bit. I feel like, oh dear, I'm kind of scared. Wouldn't it be crazy if like I actually doxed myself on my last HANDCAM stream? Sorry, I'm kidding. So let me just get a sip of my matcha actually. mm. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. So the story starts with our boy Patroclus, and he is the son of a king, I believe. Yes, he's the son of a king, so he's a prince. Okay. Settle in. Is my BGM on? No, it's not. Let me turn it on so you can have some relaxing background music to listen to while I lose my mind. Alright, so this guy, Patroclus, he's the son of King Malicious. I don't know how to write it. I think this is how you write it. So Patroclus is the king, son of the king, Malicious, which makes him a prince. Okay, and the story starts with our boy Patroclus telling us that hey, his mom, all right, his mom is kind of she's kind of not there. Okay, so how he describes her is that she's simple, which in those days is just basically the word for, you know, stupidity. She's stupid, she's simple, so that's what they say. She's simple, right? Funnily enough, listening to VTubers talk about what they're really into is one of my ways to get out of my comfort zone. I see. So yeah, so his mom isn't really there mentally, and so his dad is like, fuck man, like I got cheated out of a wife because her dad married her to him and like didn't tell him of like her condition or whatever, so she gave birth to Patroclus, correct? And so now this is our boy Patroclus, and this is where he starts. His dad does not like him. Like his dad hates his ass because again, he's his mom's son, and so to him he's like, wow, my son can't do shit, bro. This guy, my son can't do shit. All right, he doesn't like his son because in his eyes he's weak, he's stupid, which he isn't. He's pretty smart. He's weak, he's stupid, he's not like a man or whatever, you know. Toxic masculinity, alive and well. It's book club time. Yeah, it's book club time. So he doesn't like his son. And anyways, so the story starts with them being like, this guy Malicious, he has like a little banquet or a fest or whatever, right? He has a little banquet where they have like some races, I believe. And also I am butchering all of this because I'm going by memory, by the way. Like I'm going, all this is off my, just completely off the top of my dome. Are we talking about Greek mythology? I love Greek mythology. Okay. So they have like some race where, you know, obviously the winner wins like a little bit of a prize. And so Patroclus, his son, doesn't participate. He doesn't participate. But there is somebody else who participates, which is... let me like draw him with like longer hair. I kind of see him with longer hair. Achilles. Achilles, who is also the son of another king, I believe. King of Pythia. King, his name was Peleus, I believe. So, this is Achilles, right? The woo Achilles, he wins the race. And so the first chapter ends with this guy, his dad, being like, this is what a son should be. When he's looking at Achilles, he says, this is what a son should be. Like that. I just realized I forgot to send something for work. Oh my fucking god. Give me a minute. But yes, so he says like this is what a son should be, implying to Patroclus that like, hey, you suck, bro. Let me send these files over just real quick. Sorry, I just realized in the middle of my fucking thingy, it's like, holy shit, wait, I forgot to send it. Okay, anyways, I'm done. So that's the first chapter. So I feel like I don't know if I should go in depth with all, like everything that happens, and I probably won't. So anyways, after this, following this, Patroclus, he's like outside, okay, and this is like a couple of years have passed by now. So let's just, he's like playing outside, and like he's on like the grass and whatever. He's playing outside. He's like, wee, I love being a kid, because he's like 8 or 10 years old, I think. He's 8 or 10 years old, and so he's like, yay, I love being a kid, and he's holding dice, okay, and he tells us, Patroclus tells us, the readers, that the dice was gifted to him by probably a soldier or something. He doesn't remember who gave it to him, but it's sure as hell not his dad who gave it to him, because his dad hates him, remember that. So he's going around, he's playing in the fields, he's like, yippee, I love being a kid. And then couple of, like, this bully comes up to him, right? He's like, hey, you suck, okay? And he is the son of a nobleman, I believe. So he's a noble son. So that's like aristocrat. All right, he's a son of a noble, whatever, yada yada. And like Patroclus, he's like skinnier, he's like smaller, he's like, could you not like bully me maybe? And then this guy, the bully, is like, hey, give me your dice, you stupid fucking nerd. And so Patroclus is like, no, I'm not gonna give you my dice. And so I think I can't remember who started the fight first, but basically Patroclus shoves him back and he's like, don't touch my dice. So he like pushes him back, right? He pushes him back and he's like, don't touch my dice. And then this guy, the bully, is even angrier, right? He's like, how fucking dare you, bitch? And like, you know, he's like, they're about to fight, you know, like he swings, he punches Patroclus is like, ow, you know, he falls or something, drops his dice. I don't remember, but basically they're fighting and everything, and Patroclus gets really mad because the bully tells him like, hey, your dad says you suck. Specifically, holy shit, that was really like saliva, eh? Specifically, he says like, oh, your dad thinks you're a loser, or like your dad thinks that you're just dead weight, and blah 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 blah. Because Patroclus says, hey, like, you know, I'm still the prince, right? You still can't do this to me. And the bully says, well, why don't you go tell your dad? See who he sides, because they both know that his dad wouldn't side him, like the son, Patroclus. He says like, and the bully says, hey, like, your dad thinks you suck, and also your dad hates you, and also your dad doesn't even love you. Like, he would side me, a noble son, over his own son because you're stupid, you're skinny, you're not a man. And so Patroclus gets really angry about this, and so he like shoves the guy, he shoves the bully, and so the bully kind of like falls. He kind of falls. So the bully falls, and unfortunately for Patroclus, he kind of cracks his head open on a stone and dies. So, the bully like is like, he's dead now, by the way, and like there's like blood all over him. Wait, I have like this red marker. So he's dead. He's dead, and Patroclus is like, oh my fucking god, bro. Patroclus is like, fuck my life. I just killed somebody, and and so he runs away. Obviously, he runs away. He's like, oh my god, no. But the penalty for killing a son, because in Greek myth, not Greek myth, in the Greek culture, ancient Greek culture, sons were very valued, and like obviously daughters, not really, they weren't. So sons were really valued, and it's like you could kill, like I remember the book had a line that was like, oh, you could like kill their daughters, and like you could rape their daughters, but you cannot kill a man's son, because that's a punish, that's like graver than death or something like that, right? So the two options for his dad, Patroclus's dad, is now number one, kill his own son, or number two, exile. So his dad chooses exile, not because he loves his son, and not because he's like, oh, like I would never kill you, my son. No, he chooses exile because it would be cheaper to send him away to another island than to pay for his funeral. Because if he had to pay for his funeral, he had to give him a funeral fitting of a prince, and that would have been more expensive. So his dad was like, you know what, get out of my fucking sight. You are dead to me. You're an orphan now. So yeah, that's like the first kind of like 20%, first 20% of the book. Sorry, I'm just drinking some water. First 20% of the book, that's kind of how things go. So far, Patroclus has a really shitty life, right? Like he doesn't really talk to his mom either, because again, his mom is not really there mentally. So like he hasn't spoken to his mom in forever and shit like that. And like he has no friends, his dad hates him, and now he just accidentally killed a boy, and now he's exiled. That fucking sucks. Anyways, so they send Patroclus packing to the kingdom of Pythia. Patroclus is like, my life sucks. Right. It's because they value lineage greatly, and they say that sons pass on the legacies of the family. Yep. So Pythia, which, if you remember, is the kingdom from which Achilles comes from. He's like the prince of Pythia. All right. So anyways, so Patroclus gets sent to the kingdom of Pythia in his exile, and where the king kind of like fosters him. The king fosters him, and so the king is like, oh, you can come over, like, you know, you can stay, I'll feed you and I'll clothe you, but you have to be like, basically he realizes that the reason the king adopts, like fosters so many boys, is to raise his own army. So the king has adopted like many different sons, like fosters many different like exiles and sons and boys and everything, like a lot of boys, like I think there's at least easily 50. And so he sends that to so he like feeds them and clothes them, and like they live in like a barrack style place. It's like, you know, like there's like many different beds. It's and there's like 8 or 10 boys in one room and something like that. Like yeah, you're my soldier now, you know. And so it's like, okay, like they're like, all right, yay. And so Patroclus is now like really angsty about everything. He doesn't get along with the other boys because he feels like they think he's weird, and like they think that like he's like, oh, I'm a killer, you know, like I can't be close to anybody. So he's like, oh man, I'm a loser, blah blah blah. And so he notices Achilles from the very start, right? Achilles is like everything that he was supposed to be, but he wasn't. And so he hates Achilles. He really hates Achilles. At first like sight, he's like, man, fuck this guy. Like he like, just for no reason at all. I think beyond the fact that he was just jealous of Achilles and also envious of Achilles, because Achilles was like the guy that he was supposed to, like, that's like who he's supposed to be, but he's not, right? Achilles is a good prince, he's a good son, he's a blah blah blah. So Patroclus is like, I fucking hate Achilles, but Achilles is super popular. The other foster sons, the other boys that are like training with him, Patroclus, they always hang out around Achilles. Like, they're like, oh my god, you're such a great guy, we want to be like you, you know? So Achilles has his own fanboys and also his own friends, but Patroclus is all alone. Like, he's like a womp womp man. Womp womp. There's no he has no what's that? He has no friends, no bitches, no nothing. And so he's like, oh, I hate my life, oh, and everything. So one day, I believe, I can't even remember why, but Achilles sits next to Patroclus at dinner, right? And Patroclus is like, man, I hate this guy. Because why did he steal my table? Because usually Patroclus sits on his own. He is like, you know, off to some side. He's like, I hate this place. I hate Achilles. All right. But it doesn't last for very long. I don't remember why. I believe that finally, somehow, someone finds out how he was exiled. Basically, the king was like, oh, you were a killer, right? Like, you killed somebody. And he was like, yeah. And then someone found out and told everybody else. So they told all the other boys that were being fostered by the king. So now they're really like, they're like, oh my god, he's a killer, oh my god, blah blah blah. And they kind of like, they're afraid of him, they're staying away from him, blah blah blah. They're like, they look at him a lot. So Patroclus is kind of like losing it at this point. He's like, man, I'm losing it. So he decides to ditch practice. Like, he has to, basically every single day they have to go, they accuse him of that. No, he actually killed somebody. Patroclus actually did kill somebody. He did kill someone. He did kill somebody. Like, it's not like an accusation. He did kill somebody by shoving like somebody, and then like the guy fell and like his head cracked open on a rock and like he died, blah blah blah. And then he got exiled. Patroclus got exiled. He got exiled away from his home where he was a prince and got sent to Pythia. So this is where he is now. So, you know, the other boys are like, oh my god, he's a killer, blah blah blah, like, you know. So Patroclus is losing it at this point, and he decides to ditch the military practice training thing that everybody has to go through under the king, under the like military instructors and everything. He decides to ditch, and so he's like, man, fuck my life, right? He's just laying there, and who comes but Achilles? He's like, hey man, the instructor told me you've been skipping class, like, what's up with that? He's like, what's up with that, bro? He's like, what's up with that, bro? And he is like, man, you know what, whatever, just punish me. And he goes, if you want to be punished, you could get your hands chopped off or something. So Achilles is like, I don't know, buddy, but like, what's up with you, man? It's like, what's up with you, man? And so Patroclus is like, I don't know, like, everybody else just sees me as a killer, and I just hate it. I hate being here, and like blah 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 blah. And so he goes, well, you need to say something. Like, you can't, like, are you just gonna tell my father that you skipped practice? And Patroclus is like, yeah, I am gonna say that. And for some reason, Achilles insists, like, he's like, no, you should lie or something. Like, say you were sick, I'll tell them you're sick. Or like, you know, well, why like Achilles is like, bro, are you really gonna get yourself in trouble? Patroclus is like, yeah, I guess. So anyways, one thing leads to another, and Patroclus goes, well, why don't you tell your dad that I was with you the whole time? right? Like we were together the whole day. And Achilles is like, why the hell would I tell him that? I don't like lying. I don't like to lie. If I tell him that you were with me in my lessons, he will find out that I lied. And Patroclus goes, well, then why don't you take me to your lessons now? And then it wouldn't be a lie. So for the rest of the day, Patroclus follows Achilles around, and I believe that is when they grow like inseparable. So, let's see. Let's just erase all this real quick. All right. Okay. So now that's how they kind of became besties, where they started attending lessons together and they became inseparable. So it was Patroclus and it was Achilles. And obviously everything Achilles wants, Achilles gets. So he was like, Dad, I want a companion. And his dad was like, okay, you get a companion. Here you go. You know, it's Patroclus. So they're besties now. Yay! And so I believe they train, and I'm trying to remember the sequence of events now. Let me think. Oh my god, my phone. Let me think. I can't remember. Oh yeah, and then like they basically become like sworn brothers, which, you know, it's just a code word for being gay. They become sworn brothers, I believe. I can't remember the term for it specifically, but they basically swear an oath or something, you know. And then they both go together to this mountain. They go to this mountain together, Pelion, and guess who trains them? This is old guy called Chiron, and if you've read Percy Jackson, you'll know who he is. So Chiron is a half man, half centaur. He's like, let me just draw him real quick. He's like, wow, I have a human body, but also, I don't know how to draw a horse. Hold on. Also, I'm like half horse. He's like, whoa, I am a man and I'm also half centaur. The centaur? Yes. Yeah, there's Achilles playing music, displaying his spirit skills, etc. Yeah. Hold on. And then Chiron, if you don't know who he is, he trained heroes like Hercules. I forgot who else. But he's basically known to be the guy who trains like heroes, okay? Like Greek myth heroes. Chiron, those is hard CH like inquire. Chiron? Oh, anyways, he's like the guy who like trains heroes or whatever, so guess who goes there? Yay! It's Patroclus and Achilles! So they trained under her Chiron for a couple of years together, and I believe, okay, one of the significant things, all right, is that they fucked. Yeah, they fucked. So Patroclus actually began developing feelings for Achilles and vice versa, I believe. So they began you know, kind of having feelings for each other, but they haven't done anything about it yet. Because here's the thing, this is a very important figure. All right, let me just draw her like with a tail so you can't tell. Wait, that looks wrong. Oh my god. Okay, so this is Thetis. Thetis. I don't know if I'm saying that right. This is Thetis. All right, and she is Achilles' mom. And for those of you who don't know, Thetis is a minor goddess, I believe. And she is a sea nymph. And she hates Patroclus. She thinks that Patroclus is too weak for her son, and also like she thinks that Patroclus is distracting her son. She hates his ass. She's like, fuck you, first of all. Every single time, like at night, I believe, Achilles would get up and go to the ocean to talk to his mom, or like he has this like night terrors, I believe. I think it's night terrors where he like wanders to the ocean and he like starts talking to the ocean or something, or like begging for his mom to come on talk to him or something. He was a little bit of a mommy's boy, okay? He had a little bit of a mommy issues, all right? So Thetis really didn't like Patroclus, and he knew that. He was like, oh man, I wonder why my bestie's mom doesn't fucking like me. And he's like, oh man, oh shit. Anyways. So he knows that Thetis doesn't like him, and so it kind of puts a little bit of a strain on their like budding romance, but doesn't stop them, because guess what? Okay, there's a very vivid scene I remember, but basically in Mount Pelion, so this is Mount Pelion, all right, and within Mount Pelion they have a little room to themselves. Okay, think of it as like a house. Okay, the mount, the house. It's like a little house, kind of. And then they have a room to themselves. P plus A. They have a little room to themselves. It has like a little window. I don't know why there's a window in a cave. Don't ask me. But basically, they both have their own beds. And so they're talking or something. And Patroclus gets really close to Achilles. And he's like, she can't see us here. And she is referring to Thetis. His for some reason, under the mountain, when they're inside a cave, Thetis can kind of like see, right? Like she's always like, she's a knower, bro. She's a seer, bro. She knows, she saw that something awful would happen to Achilles, and she can kind of like, I guess she can kind of see like what they're doing and where they are. So she can kind of see them. Right, like everywhere else, she knows where they are and she knows what they're doing, but in Pelion, she can't see them. So Patroclus gets really close to Achilles, and he goes, "She can't see us here." And Achilles is like, "What?" And Patroclus goes, "Achilles, your mom can't see us here." And so they fuck. Yup. They start fucking. Don't know what to tell you. They fuck for the first time. They start fucking. All right, in that little cave, just like you know, like they start fucking. Okay. They get down and dirty. They get fucking nasty, and then after that, let me see. Okay, so after this, all right. So they're having their little training arc in the mountains. Is really like romantic, and they get close, and they think that Chiron kind of knows that they're gay, but like he doesn't really say anything. Shout out my homie Chiron. What are those hand movements? It's making out like this. You don't kiss like that? I wouldn't know. I've never kissed anybody. I'm kidding. Or am I? So they're having fun and everything, and then they get called back to Pythia. Remember the kingdom? Oh, okay. And okay, important context that I forgot to tell you guys. Very important context I forgot to tell everybody. Okay, sorry. I should have mentioned this before, but I'll mention it now. Basically, before the events of Patroclus's exile, so this is like exile, right? This is like exile. Right? Before the events of its exile, there was a case where King... what's his fucking name? Let me see. I forgot his name. Let me find it. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Alright. Basically, before the events of Patroclus' exile, like the murder and like the whatever, Patroclus plus his dad get an invite, basically. There's a king who has 3 beautiful daughters, and he is offering one of his daughters for marriage. So he sends out letters to every man, bachelor or whatever, and says, "Hey, my daughter's up for grabs. You should come with your gift, and or whatever you want. Like, come with an offering, come with a gift as part of your dowry for my daughter." And guess who his daughter is? Just guess. His daughter is Helen of Troy. Okay. Important, a really important woman. Really important woman, okay? Helen of Troy. She was said to be gorgeous. She was like super like luminous. She's a total babe, bruh. She's a babe. She's like total like, she's gorgeous. She's blah blah blah. She was said to be so show-stoppingly beautiful that men would stop breathing, whatever. Okay, so a lot of men come to kind of like compete, not really compete, but like to be like, hey, I want to marry your daughter, bruh. And so they bring, like, there's a lot of people, right? There's old men, there's young men, and Patroclus is the youngest of them all. He's like 8 or 10, I believe. Patroclus is 8 or 10 years old. So there's like a lot of men who come to be like, I want to marry your daughter. Here is my gift. Here's my this, here's my that. And notably, one of the figures that comes is a man who fought with Heracles. Heracles, okay? He was Heracles' comrade, and he presented Heracles' original bow. Alright? He was like super old though. He was like 70 years old or something. So anyways, that doesn't really matter. So basically, they're all like, you know, trying to make their case for like, oh, I should be her. I should be her husband. I should be her husband. I should be her husband, blah, 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 blah. And it gets a little bit rowdy. Okay, until one mysterious hooded figure shows up. Right? Not shows up, he's already there. He stands up and he says something. He says, to the king, he says, how can you make sure that these men, whoever you choose to be her husband, like let's say you choose this guy, right? Let's say you choose this guy. How can you be so sure that everybody else in the current room, how can you be sure that everybody else won't try to kill her husband and then try to take her for themselves? Okay, foreshadowing, because he says, this guy, he says that all the men in the room would very likely wage war, foreshadowing, in order to marry Helen of Troy, because she is that beautiful. Right? And so he says, like, you know, how can you make sure that everybody else won't try to target this one guy and kill him and take her for themselves, right? He's like, you know, it doesn't make sense, like, you know, unless you can somehow find a way, blah 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 blah. And so this king, this guy, he's like, so what do you have, like, so you surely you have a solution in mind. He's like, so what do you suggest? Right, like, what do you suggest? Do you suggest like basically you have so much shit to say, tell me, like, what do you suggest? And so this guy, guess who he is? He's Odysseus, subject of that hit musical epic. Odysseus, it's Odysseus, this man. He says very clearly, he says, I don't want to marry Helen, bro. Odysseus then comes up with these solutions. He says, have every man in this room, okay, and mind you, they're not like nobodies, they're like kings, they're princes, they're heroes, they're whatever, right? So he says, have every single man in this room, every single man, swear a blood oath to protect Helen. If anybody comes for Helen, if anybody tries to kill her husband or take Helen, everybody in the room has to come to their defense. They have to come to their defense, her and her husband's defense. And basically, he said something like, stupid ass guy. He was like, you gotta make everybody like swear a blood oath that they will come. They will come to her rescue. And also, another thing, so that you don't have the burden of choosing her husband, why don't you let the girl choose? Which is revolutionary back then. It was revolutionary. Said, why don't you let Helen choose? And so Helen chooses, I believe, what does she choose? Menelaus. Yes, Menelaus. Okay. She chooses Menelaus as her husband, and that's that. And then everybody, they swear the blood oath. They slash their wrists and not their wrists, sorry, their palms, and they have to like, you know, and then they basically like it's a blood oath. Okay. Menelaus, yep, yes, Menelaus. So she chooses Menelaus, right? So anyways, going back to the current timeline, so they're in Mount Pythia and everything, but then they get called back to they're in Mount Pelion, sorry, and then they get called back to Pythia. Okay, so they come back and you're like, yo, what's up, man? What's up, man? And then they hear that, wait, no, it's not Helen of Troy. Sorry, wait, she is Helen of Troy, but before she was Helen of Troy, she was Helen of Sparta. That's my bad. Anyways, so they get called back and they're like, hey, by the way, Helen got taken. So you guys kind of have to follow your blood oath and also, you know, join the war. And so they do. They join the war of Troy versus Sparta. Yes. That's when they join the war. And so one thing that you need to note is that there was a prophecy regarding Achilles. Okay? There was a prophecy regarding Achilles where basically it said something like he would get super duper famous if he joined the war of Troy versus Sparta. If he joined the war, he would get like renown, he would be remembered by history, you know, all that great stuff, right? But he will also die in the war. That came with a huge but. They were like, oh, the prophecy was basically like, oh yeah, like he will get like super duper famous and like people will love him and everything, but he will die. He will die specifically at the hands of this man called Hector. Right. So Hector of Troy, I believe. Trojan. He's a Trojan. Yeah, sorry. It's like a little bit late. I'm getting a little sleepy. But anyways, so his mom has been warning him. Basically, his mom is like, don't die, please don't die. And his mom is like, no, you cannot join the war. But she knows that she can't stop Achilles, so the two of them, they join the war. Yes. So, wait, no, they don't join the war immediately. Wait, I don't remember shit. He will either live a short life and be known forever, or live a normal life and be forgotten. Yeah. People will put him anime, make him a Twitter profile picture for generations to come. Hi, Zeddy! Hello! Thank you for the raid! Hi, raiders! My name is Adora Fortune. I'm a High Priestess VTuber from VOLs 2nd generation. Hello, welcome in. Currently, I am breaking down the plot of my favorite book, The Song of Achilles. Hello! How was your Marvel Rivals scrims? Hi, readers, welcome in! Daddy, thank you so much for the raid once again. How are you, wifey? Hi, wifey. Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for the raid. Hi. But yes. What was that? Yeah. Okay, so yes, okay, so rather than immediately joining the fight, basically Achilles was like, oh man, this kind of sucks, and also my mom doesn't want me to join the war, right? So this is when Thetis hides Achilles. Basically, she brings Achilles to this island called what's it called? Let me think. Sorry, I'm like, my brain is so scattered, you know. All right, okay. So Thetis brings her son Achilles to the island of Syros, right, where he dresses as a girl. Basically, he's like, hee. He has to cross dress. Basically, he's like, this is Achilles. He's like, oh my god, I'm a woman. I picked a musical, poor name choice aside, had the limits of focusing on the Odyssey, which is set after the Trojan War. I believe! Is that so? Oh wait, you're right, maybe. I don't know why I said maybe. I'm pretty sure you're right. Sorry, my brain is not screwed on right today. My head is not screwed on right. Anyways, so Thetis really doesn't want Achilles to join the war because of the prophecy. Remember, she doesn't want her son to die. Right? So she brings him to this island of Syros, and she's like, hey, stay here and hide here. But what was that? I forgot. And I think Patroclus was left behind. I don't really remember this bit. I'm so sorry. But basically, Patroclus and Achilles get separated. Achilles gets hidden on this island and he has a cross-dress. Okay? And one of the king's daughters is like, oh my god. She kind of discovers that he's not a woman. And so she, like, I can't remember what she does, but basically she marries him. Like, she marries him. And I believe it was implied that, like, she kind of, like, got him drunk and, like, I don't remember this part. I'm sorry. I could be remembering wrong. But basically, I remember that Achilles was really, he, like, either didn't know that she was pregnant or, like, he really didn't want to, like, sleep with her. So, anyways, she was like, oh my god. And then Odysseus and Patroclus and some other guy, forgot who, they arrive at this island and they find out that Achilles has been masquerading as a girl in the island. And they're like, Achilles, man, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Can you, like, go join the war with us? And so they're like, I guess. Okay, I guess. Yeah, Odysseus said it again. Yeah, Odysseus is always at the scene of the crime, I feel like. Let me drink. I do remember in Myth he did that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he, like, did sleep with this girl, the princess, and he also got her pregnant. But he was like, I'm not the baby daddy, bro. And he like bounced, leaving her alone with the baby. Regardless, so Odysseus, Patroclus, and like another third person, I forgot who, they find Achilles and they're like, hey bro, you gotta join the war. And Achilles is like, yeah, say less, because he found out, I believe he found out that this girl was pregnant, or he didn't even know, and he's like, oh wait, I'm bouncing. All right. I mean, he dressed as female to avoid the war. Yeah. Basically, he cross-dressed to avoid the war, and he like hid in that island because of his mom, and also like he didn't want to join it, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, so they get convinced to join the Trojan War. So this Achilles, this Patroclus. All right, so Achilles and Patroclus get convinced to join the war, and they join the Greeks, who have many different kings, but the only one you really need to know is Agamemnon. All right, and he's known to be like he's a big brute, and he's like I don't know, like he's just not nice. Hold on, wait. Sorry, hold on. I gotta charge my phone. But yeah, give me a second, real quick. Yeah, and one of the myth versions of the story, Odysseus ruins the cross-dressing secret by raising the war alarm on the island, so Achilles runs to the barracks instead of a house. Wait, that's so evil though. That is so evil of him. Holy shit, why am I getting so big? That's evil of him to do. Anyways. So, Hold. Yes. Sorry, where was I? Sorry for something like. Anyways, so Agamemnon, he is known to be awful. Basically, he's like he has a reputation for just overall not being a very great guy. Okay. Born to cross-dress, forced to war. Exactly. So they're like, oh man. Hold on. Odysseus did it because he received a prophecy that the war effort would be lost without Achilles. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Either ways, Odysseus is just constantly not being able to mind his business, which I love him for it. But yeah, let's see. Okay, so what's that? So they join the war, and you know they win, and they win because of Achilles. All right, Achilles gets multiple W's. They're like, oh my god, Achilles, you're so great. Whatever. Okay. And what was that? Yeah, so they go, they fight, they have multiple skirmishes, they win multiple fights. And it gets to a point where you know, every city that they sack, right? And sack meaning like they burn the place down, they loot the place, they, you know, they loot the place, they take their spoils for themselves and everything, whatever. And so whenever they do this, there's always like, you know, the woman, how unfortunate, the women. Yeah, the women are also claimed as prizes, not prices. They're also claimed as prizes. So obviously Agamemnon, he's like, I want this girl, right? He chooses this young slave girl, and she's like, no. Basically, this is after, I'm pretty sure she's Spartan. So he was like, I want this girl, right? Her name is Briseis. How nice that she gets a name. Briseis, he was immediately, and she's young, she's like a young girl, right? So Agamemnon, he's really like, he's just like, he's been pissing Achilles off already by this point where he's like, wow, I like, Agamemnon's just been like, oh, like what does Achilles even do? Like he's not even that great, blah blah blah. He's like basically undermining, he has been undermining Achilles a lot. He's been like, oh, like, you know, blah blah blah, disrespecting Achilles and everything, right? So Agamemnon's like, I want this girl. And Achilles, knowing his character, he knew that Agamemnon would have broken Briseis. Like he would have, you know, beaten her or whatever. And Achilles was like, he steps in and he's like, actually, why do you get to claim the prize when you sat on your ass? You weren't there fighting, I was there fighting the Trojans, you weren't. Why do you get to claim a prize? So Achilles steps in, he's like, I'm gonna claim Briseis first because I was actually there and I deserve it, right? So Agamemnon hates this. He's really pissed off at Achilles at this point. They hate each other, by the way. Achilles and Agamemnon, they just fucking hate each other. So Achilles steps in, he claims Briseis for himself. All right. So Briseis now is, you know, with Patroclus and Achilles, and Achilles is like, you know, you're safe, you're fine, and Patroclus and Briseis become friends. They become like, you know, confidants, and they become friends, and so things are okay for a little bit. All right, for a tiny little bit. All right, and then something happens where they raid another city, and amongst the girls, I believe, I can't remember if she was a prize, like she was like taken from a city, or if she was just taken, but basically Agamemnon had seen a girl, right? Okay, her name was Chryseis, I believe. Okay, so Agamemnon had seen this girl, right? Chryseis, I think is her name, I'm pretty sure. It's very similar to Briseis, but I digress. So he has seen this girl and he was like, I'm gonna claim her and she's gonna be my wife, right? He takes her back to the camp where all the Greeks are, and basically he bets her, right? He claims her, he takes her. And here's the thing about Chryseis is her dad is a priest of Apollo. All right. Her dad is the priest of Apollo. right? And her dad was like, please just return my daughter to me, please, just like return my daughter, please give her back to me, right? And he was like a frail old man, right? He's like, please just bring my daughter back to me, please, like I have gold, I have food, I have whatever the hell you want, like I have gold, I have like, you know, you can use this gold, blah 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 blah. And you know, he's like, no, like this guy Agamemnon was like, no, like she's my wife now, or whatever, like she's my prize, I'm not gonna return her. So the priest goes away. Okay, let's just wipe this. So the priest is like, what the fuck, man? Okay, so okay, let's just illustrate this real quick. So this is Agamemnon, right? He's sitting on his like little throne thingy. He's sitting on his throne, right? And then the priest is like, just return my daughter to me, please. Like, return my daughter, please. Like, I'm an old man. Like, I just want my daughter back. I don't care that like you took her purity or whatever. Just bring my daughter back. All right, let me have her back. And this guy goes, no. He's like, no. So the priest, he goes away. But he's pissed. He's pissed. So as he leaves, he starts praying to Apollo, right? He's like, Apollo, if you hear me. He's like, he starts praying to Apollo. He starts cursing them. He says, Apollo, if you hear me, Apollo, I am your loyal man. I'm your blah, blah, blah. He starts praying to Apollo. All right. He says, please, may they experience my suffering threefold. Something like that. Like, may they experience my suffering threefold. May they experience my suffering threefold. May they experience my suffering threefold. And so, plague. This is when the plague happens. Basically, more and more soldiers are being downed by this mysterious plague that makes them like die and like you know, more and more soldiers like they get afflicted by this and they're dying. They're dying. A lot of them are dying, right? They're like and not only are the soldiers dying, like basically I can't remember, not only are the soldiers dying, basically the weather is really really bad now, so it's like sweltering hot, which doesn't help with the infection and the plague that's going around. So it's sweltering hot suddenly, like it's supposed to be good, like it's supposed to be like the weather is not supposed to be this hot in that time of the year, so it becomes swelteringly hot. There's like no relief from the heat. It's just humid, it's just hot and everything. And so there's also the plague, obviously. And also, rats keep dying in the camp. Not just the rats, slowly it turns out to be it becomes the dogs as well. So the camp is just festering. There's like rats dying left and right. There is dogs dying left and right. There's just super 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 hot. And not only that, men are dying so fast that like they have to like do mass burials. And like basically you have to have the funeral pyre. Like the funeral pyre. You have to have like, they have to burn like bodies all at once. And you never want to piss off the gods or someone with their favorite. Yeah, exactly. You saw many comment. Yeah. Apollo god of medicine. Yes, exactly. So yeah, like burn everybody. Yeah, every body. Like yeah, body. Like basically they were shoving like bodies. Like usually you want to be respectful, so one funeral pyre for one funeral for one person, one dead person, right? But because people were dying so quickly, they had to pile the bodies up on the pyre, like basically to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and they just burned them at the same time because they were not able to keep up with how many people were dying. And so they realized all of this is happening because of Agamemnon. Or at least Achilles realizes. Achilles realizes that this plague is happening because Agamemnon refused to return Chryseis, the daughter of the priest. He needs to apologize to that old guy. I know. I guess the dude really loves his daughter because all that is just 3 times the suffering. I know. So, Chryseis was like, Achilles was like, bro, all this is because of Agamemnon, because his stubborn, prideful ass refuses to return the daughter, right? And So like the men are like getting pissed off. They're like, why is it so hot? Like we're dying, blah 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 blah. And also hold on, I'm gonna go turn on the AC. I'm sweating. Give me a minute. All right, I'm back. So, what was that? So right, okay. So Achilles realizes that the plague is happening because of Agamemnon, and he like Agamemnon refuses to see that. Right? Agamemnon's like, no, I'm not gonna return her. I'm not gonna return her until finally, I believe all the Greeks are like, bro, just fucking return her, right? Achilles, I believe, makes a case against Agamemnon in public, which humiliates Agamemnon. Like it like humiliates him. He's like, what the fuck, man? And so Agamemnon agrees to return Chryseis to her dad, right? In exchange for like everything, all of this not happening anymore. Agamemnon agrees to return Chryseis to wait, hold on. Just song Achilles. So Agamemnon agrees to return. He's like, okay, fine, I'll return Chryseis, right? And so they return her on a boat. She's like, yay, I get to go home. Yippee, whatever. But Agamemnon then says, well, to make up for the girl that I lost, I'm gonna take your girl. Because remember, there's Patroclus, there's Achilles, and then there's Briseis. Who they're like friends now, right? They're friends now, right? So Agamemnon pissed the fuck off. He's like, well, guess what? I'm gonna take your girl. So he forcibly takes Briseis, I believe, in front of everybody, you know, and by doing that, he basically humiliated Achilles. He humiliated Achilles and undermined his like authority, his presence and everything, like everything that he's done so far. Because mind you, Achilles is the reason that they have been winning their battles so far. Like all the Greeks winning their battles is because of Achilles. And oh, by the way, this whole time, Patroclus and Achilles are still being gay as hell. Like they're still like kissing and shit like that. They sleep in the same bed, whatever. They're like each other's like one true loves. Okay, Patroclus and Achilles, they're gay. Okay, they're holding hands. All right. So Agamemnon takes Briseis, and he like pulls her along or whatever. He's like, you're coming with me, and so Briseis is like, no. Right. He takes Briseis, and Achilles is humiliated. He's like, how could you do this to me? You know, you're undermining my my authority. You're taking away my war prize. Okay, because the Greeks are very proud. Okay, they if nothing, they have their pride. All right. So by doing something like that, something so grave, he was humiliating Achilles on purpose in front of everybody. So as a result, Achilles then says, well, since you took my girl, my quote unquote my girl, since you took my prize, I'm not gonna fight. He goes, I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight for the Greeks. I'm not gonna fight for you. Hi Adora, hello. So Achilles is now pissed off, okay, and he's at the camp, and he says, I'm not gonna fight until Agamemnon himself comes to apologize to me. He has to come and apologize face to face, like one-to-one, face-to-face apologize to me, and also return Briseis. And Agamemnon refuses, so Achilles refuses to fight. He refuses to fight in the war, and the Greeks start dying. Like, they start dying in like tens, dozens, and all that. They start losing their battles, and so the Trojans start advancing on the Greeks. Right? The Trojans start... The Trojans start advancing on the Greeks, and Achilles was like, well, I'm still not fighting. I don't care. I don't care. And more people started dying. And Patroclus was like, you need to do something, bro. Bae, listen to me. This isn't you. You need to do something. Please, please, please. And Achilles was still like, no, I'm not gonna fucking do it. And so they like, it's like a sore point between Patroclus and Achilles. Patroclus is like, your men are dying. Your men are dying. The men that you fought against for years, because by this point it had been years, by the way. It had been like, I think 5 years of them fighting, like 5 to 8 years of fighting. So they've been fighting for 5 to 8 years with the the Trojans, sorry. And Achilles just was like, I'm not gonna fight. And so more and more men started dying, and like they started losing more and more battles. They started getting pushed back by the Trojans until, I believe, I can't remember why, but basically there was like, the fighting had gone all the way to their camp. Because, okay, let's say this is the map of Trojan and Sparta. Let's say Trojan is here and Sparta is here, right? Yeah, basically they were, and let's say the camp is here. This is camp, right? They were advancing, basically. They were advancing more and more. The more and more men died because Achilles was refusing to, Achilles was like, nope, I refuse to fight in the war. So they started to advance more and more. And so they had gotten to the point of nearly being at their camp. Like basically, the way that Patroclus describes it is they were like right here. And the Greeks could hear the Trojans singing, being like, oh, like, we're gonna win, you're gonna win, blah, blah, blah. The Greeks could hear the Trojans singing. And that's how close they were. Trojan drove everyone back to the shoreline when Spartans first landed to wage war. Yeah, so basically, like, let's say the Greeks had gotten up to here, right? In the 5 to 8 years, let's say they got up to here, right? They got like they went all the way to here, right? And because Achilles refused to fight, they drove them all the way back, and now they have only gotten this far, basically. So because Achilles refused to fight, they like started, advancing more and more and more and more, and they basically, this is the ocean. They pushed them all the way to the ocean. This is the camp. Let's say this is camp. They pushed them all the way back when they had been just here, over here, just a while ago. So it had gotten to the point where like they were on their doorstep, and Patroclus, now he's like, I have a plan. Patroclus says that he has a plan. He says, why don't I wear your armor? To Achilles. Okay, let's just erase this again. So to Achilles, Patroclus is like, basically he has been arguing with Achilles about this. He's like, you're not helping us, you're letting the men die, blah blah blah. I can't wait to see. I can't stand around and do nothing, blah blah blah. And Achilles is like, well, tell Agamemnon to apologize to me and I will fight. And so I believe it was Odysseus who approaches Achilles and Patroclus, but mostly Achilles, with like gifts from Agamemnon. Right? It's like gold, it's like weapons, it's like whatever. Odysseus, with the gifts from Agamemnon, he says, hey man, here's my here's an apology from Agamemnon. Okay, please just fight with us. Please just fight with us. And Achilles says, no, I don't want any of this. I don't want the gold. I don't want the whatever. I want him to apologize to me. And I think it had gotten to a point where Odysseus brought Briseis. Right? Odysseus brought Briseis with him and said, hey, here, you can have your girl back. Right? The whole reason Achilles refused to fight, he said, here you go. You can have her back. But Achilles still said, no, I want Agamemnon to come and apologize to me in person. Like, I want him face to face. I want him to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But still, Agamemnon refused. So Achilles said, I'm not fighting. So then Patroclus says, why don't I wear your armor? Right? Patroclus has this idea where he says, if I wear your armor, right, they're gonna be so scared that they don't realize it's not you. And he says something like, oh, the only you know, the only what was that? What was I saying? Shit, I don't remember. What was I saying, guys? Oh my god, I forgot. My brain just blanked. Oh right, like the only thing that the Greeks need now is like a morale boost, and just seeing your armor could probably help them fight better and also instill fear in the Trojans, right? And so, yeah, like Patroclus says, I will wear the armor, I'll wear your helmet, because we have similar builds. I'll wear your armor, I'll wear your helmet, I'll go into battle and I'll fight, but only a little bit so they don't realize I'm not you. Like, I'm just gonna go in, I'm just gonna ride on the chariot and like, I don't know, like stab somebody or something, and I'll go right back. I'll go right back to the camp. Right? I'll go right back to camp and I'll be safe and sound. And Achilles is like, are you sure? Because I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to get injured. I don't want you to get whatever. And he says, stay far away from Hector, who is the king. Who's the king? Who's the son of the king of Troy. Okay? He says, stay the fuck away from Hector, because in the prophecy, it says that Achilles will die soon after crossing blades with Hector. Right? And so this whole life, his mom has told him, do not ever, 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 ever face off against someone named Hector. Hector from Troy. Do not ever face this guy. Do not ever cross your swords with him. Do not fight him. Do not do anything, because you will die soon after. Trust and believe. You will die. So Achilles tells Patroclus, fine, I will let you do it, but only if you promise to be very, very safe. And because obviously, like, again, they're gay. Yay. Achilles says, you are my one true love in this life. And if you died, I would not know how to do, like, what? I would not know how to, live, basically. So Patroclus says, okay, I will wear your armor and I'll hold your spear, I'll have your helmet, and I will go in, do one small little round, and I'll go back right out, right? Like he's basically saying like, oh, I will pretend to be you, give the Greeks a confidence boost, and, you know, scare the Trojans, right? And so, okay, the day comes when Patroclus wears the helmet, he wears the suit, the armor or whatever, and he goes in on this chariot, whatever, I give a fuck. And the chariot is pulled by some like boy or whatever. He's like, yeah, Achilles is here, it's Achilles. So it actually works, like, for a little bit. Like people do like get scared and everything. The Trojans are like, oh shit, it's fucking Achilles. And he's like holding the spear, so he kills like a couple of men, and he even kills like a pretty strong like Trojan or something. I can't remember who. Wait, they were cousins, so there was anterior yaoi incest? No, they weren't cousins. What are you talking about? Were they? No, they weren't. When did I ever say they were cousins? I'm so confused. Anyways, so this is Patroclus, by the way. Patroclus is riding in on the chariot, pulled by this boy. All right, and so he's like stab, blah blah blah, whatever. He's killing people, and he even kills a pretty strong Trojan. Until that Trojan turns around, and I believe it's Hector. Like, there's like another Trojan that's like dead here, right? And this is Patroclus. He's like, yeah, like, die, bitch. Patroclus kills this Trojan, and who's in front of him but Hector? And he's like, oh fuck, because Hector sees him and he thinks that Patroclus is Achilles. He thinks that he's Achilles, right? So Patroclus locks eyes with Hector, and Hector was like, guess what, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And he did kill him. Okay, R.I.P. to the real one. R.I.P. Patroclus, bro. Yeah, R.I.P. Patroclus. So Hector kills Patroclus, right? And I can't remember what he did, but basically he was like, man, fuck you. And he kills Patroclus, and Patroclus is like, he stabs Patroclus, I believe. And Patroclus is like, oh man. He's like, oh man, fuck my life. And then he just, boom, he dies. I can't remember who brings his body back to camp, but basically, somebody brings his body back to camp. And Achilles, seeing this, he loses his mind. Okay. Achilles is like, no! How could this happen? And like, I believe the book described it as like, he was like falling to his knees, he was like ripping out his hair, he's like, what the fuck, yeah, looking at the wiki, it says Patroclus was Achilles' cousin. No, he wasn't. What? Achilles was never related to Patroclus. Anyways, so Achilles became really depressed, and Wikipedia is not a reliable source, unfortunately. So Achilles is really depressed about Patroclus' death. Like, he refuses to shower, he refuses to eat. He even, by the way, this is pretty gross of him, he carries Patroclus' dead body to their bed, right? He doesn't do anything with it, don't worry, okay? But basically, he lays Patroclus' like dead body here, and he sleeps next to his dead body. Like, this is Patroclus, this is Achilles. And this whole time, by the way, when everything is happening, Patroclus is like a ghost. Okay. Patroclus is a ghost who is kind of like looking over everything. He's like looking over like what happened and everything. So Patroclus is like a ghost, and he's like looking at Achilles doing this. He's like, Achilles like sleeps next to his dead body, and like he kisses him in the morning before he goes out to kill Trojans. Like, he basically, Achilles gets wrecked with grief. He gets wrecked with grief, and he like every day he goes out, he kills Trojans, he comes back home, he sleeps next to Patroclus' dead body. So this happens for, I believe, like 2 weeks or so, and Odysseus is like, dude, you need to move on. Like, we need to give him like a proper burial. Like, people are telling Achilles like, hey, you need to bury or burn Patroclus' body, because if you don't, his soul is not gonna pass on, basically. Because the Greeks believed that if you didn't burn their body or give them a proper burial, then they would be stuck on Earth. Which Patroclus was. He was stuck on Earth. He was stuck watching all this happen, and he was like, oh my god, like, you know. So, they keep telling him, like, you need to bury Patroclus, but Achilles says, not until I kill Hector. He knows that Hector killed Patroclus, and so he says, I am not gonna stop, and I'm not gonna bury Patroclus until I fulfill my promise to him, which my promise to him was I was gonna kill Hector. So, finally, I forget when, he finally kills Hector, right? He's like, bleh. He kills Hector. Alright? So Hector dies, so Achilles brings Hector's dead body back to camp, and he desecrates Hector's body. He ties Hector's body to the chariot, and he like drags it around like camp, like around and around and around and around and around. So he like refuses to let Hector's body rest in peace, like his soul rest. Basically he drags Achilles's like Achilles drags Hector's body around, and like he has like horses trample on him, and like I can't remember what else. Like, basically he like desecrates Hector's body. Okay, he mutilates his dead body. But somehow every single morning Hector's body would go back to normal. Basically, like his body would be like, you know, mangled, and like it would be just like bones or rotting or whatever. But the very next day, Hector will be laying there, like dead still, by the way. He would still be dead, but he will be in perfect shape. So like his skin is untouched. He doesn't even look like he's dead. He looks like pristine. He looks whatever. Basically, the gods are like, you can't do that. You cannot do that. But Achilles, in his grief, continues to like drag his body around. Right, like he ties it to the chariot. He's like blah 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 blah. So Hector remains pristine, and Hector's dad, King Priam, one day he like sneaks into camp. I don't know how he does this, but basically he just comes in, he like sneaks into camp, and he comes before Achilles, and he says, he comes without any guards, by the way, like the king of Troy, who like this whole war, blah blah blah, King Priam, right? He comes into the camp and he says, please return my son's body. Please let me give my son a proper resting place. It's just like, I understand that you're pissed off. I understand that you're grieving, but please let me bury my son. And I think Achilles by this point, he was like really fucking tired. So he's like, sure, whatever. He's like, fine, okay, like take the body back. So King Priam brings Hector back to Troy. Okay? And the war continues. Like the war doesn't stop just because King Priam's like, please return me to my son. So anyways, so the war continues on, and Achilles keeps killing and killing and killing. I believe that like he's already buried Patroclus by this point, like he's burned Patroclus's body after this. So he has his ashes in like a little tombstone or whatever, right? This is Patroclus, RIP. So Achilles keeps killing more and more Trojans, you know, like whatever. And then finally Achilles dies. So Achilles dies. He gets killed ironically by Paris, who is the other son of King Priam, I believe. So there's Hector, who is dead. And then Paris kills Achilles. Yep. And so remember how Achilles had a son? When Achilles was cross-dressing, he had a little baby with the princess. He had a little baby with the princess, and this boy's name was Pyrrhus. I don't know how to say this. Whoopsies. P-R-R-H-U-S. Alright, Pyrrhus. His son has been raised by his dad. Like, I'm pretty sure his dad or something. I don't remember. His son has been raised. His son is now of like older, and he hears about his dad dying. Basically, he's like, "Oh, my dad is dead!" So he joins the war too. And they say that Pyrrhus was way more cruel than Achilles was. Anyways, and he also basically when before Achilles died, he said that he wanted to be buried. He wanted his ashes to be put together with Achilles's. Patroclus, sorry. He wanted to put his ashes, like basically they wanted to have the same urn and like a joint burial. And Pyrrhus says, no, I'm not letting my dad be buried with some no-name orphan who is Patroclus, because Pyrrhus has no clue that his dad was gay, bruh. Had no clue. His dad was fucking owie. Oh, I bit my nail. Pyrrhus had no clue that his dad was like butt fucking Patroclus. He was 12. Yes, he was 12. So he was like, no, my dad is gonna be buried like a hero. My dad's gonna be buried like on like whatever. Like he's not gonna be buried on like some no-name island with some no-name man. And Pyrrhus was like, I'm not gonna let the two of them be buried together, despite the fact that it was Achilles' like wishes. But ultimately, Achilles' mom, Thetis, surprisingly, the story almost concludes with you believing that they will never be buried together, but the last scene, it ends with Thetis putting their ashes together. Basically, she takes out Achilles' ashes and she puts it together with Patroclus, and now they share the same gravestone. Basically, it's like a little like hill. There's like a little hill, and there's like a gravestone marker, and on the gravestone marker, I believe it says something like Patroclus plus Achilles, like their souls live together now, or something. And then they reunite in the underworld. Basically, they're like, oh my god, bae! Achilles and Patroclus reunites in the underworld, and that's how the story ends. Crazy, isn't it? Yes. What do you guys think? Sorry, I'm drinking like a shit ton of water. My throat is dry. The last scene with Thetis honestly gave me chills. I skipped some of the middle part when I first read the book. That makes sense though. But yeah, Thetis's part was like, I was crying by this point, I believe. So I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this. But yes. Okay, so that's the Song of Achilles. We're done! Yay! So, did you guys enjoy that? Hold on, let me swap real quick because I need to take off my gloves. I cannot do this anymore. Hey! How was that? Did you enjoy that? That was a nice short story. Yeah! It was pretty short, huh? But I believe it was like 300 pages, I believe. Oh my god, I can finally take off my gloves. My hands are so sweaty. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really enjoyed doing that. I've never done something like that before, ever. So, now I don't need to read it thanks to you. Yeah, exactly. Now you don't need to read it. So, one of my favorite like types of YouTube videos, I don't know if you guys know, is like plot summary breakdown videos where basically people like they have like 3-hour-long videos where they in detail tell you about this plot of a book. And I believe, okay, you know what, I can even find a link for you guys and I can like drop it in if you want to watch it. Let's see, basically there was this there's this like book channel that I love to watch called Carrie Can Read, and she does these amazing insane plot breakdowns where basically like if you don't want to read it, like for example like if there's like a hit series that you don't want to read, she has done like, if she has done a plot breakdown of it, you can just watch that instead of reading it. I'm still confused though because I strictly remember that Patroclus was Achilles' cousin. Now you say they weren't. They were never cousins. I don't understand. Like, is your misunderstanding coming from the fact that Achilles' dad fostered Patroclus? Because here's the thing. Achilles' dad, King Peleus, he did foster Patroclus, but that's not like as a like, oh, he's adopted. It was more of a I will take in these orphans to train and raise them as my army. So it's not like a, oh, they're brothers kind of way. They're not cousins, they're not brothers, they're not like related in any shape, way, or form. At least in the Song of Achilles, they're not. And I believe even in the normal Greek myth they're not, but I could be wrong. But yeah, the way you tell it is really fun. I'm glad to hear that. I hope you guys liked it. Like, I have never done anything like that before, so no, he was just hosting him. Yeah, basically he was like a host family. I really enjoyed the visuals. I'm a very visual kind of person, so if I can't picture it, I will have some difficulty with understanding, so this helped get the gist of it all. Yeah. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed that, really. I was worried when I was starting it. I was worried that nobody would like it, so I was like, oh, you know, oh gosh. But I'm glad to hear that you guys enjoyed it, like, really. I love nerding out, I love talking about books, and I love, you know, being able to be nerdy about books to you guys. I just really wish that I could have done like book style videos, like where like I basically like sit down and I tell you guys like, oh, what did I read this month, what did I like enjoy this month, you know, or like, here are my recommendations if you want a recommendation for a book. What's stopping you? I'm graduating, so unfortunately. It really showed how passionate you are about the book and Greek history in general. I really am really passionate about Greek history. I always have, like, I don't know, like, I've always been super passionate about Greek myth, which is why I chose to be a priestess. Obviously, you know, you gotta choose to be a priestess, and I chose to be a priestess. I am a priestess, like, I am a ambiguous priestess in the sense of like I could be a priestess of like Rome or Greek, but it's heavily implied to be Greek. So But yeah. I love a good story. Yeah, it's a much larger. We could have talked about Roman history next, but our time is limited. Yeah. Unfortunately, I really would have liked doing like a more comprehensive stream about Greek myth in general. Like it could be like about Persephone and Hades, or it could have been about like, I don't know, like you really see an Orpheus. I don't know, I'll say that. Or it could have been like, obviously those are like the more well-known myths, right? I could have talked to you guys about like lesser known myths too, but unfortunately we don't have time together. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that though. I really did have fun doing that for you guys. I really wish I could have done a like book kind of stream for you guys, like a book annotation kind of stream, but yeah, anyways, so I'm just gonna end like now, but basically I'm gonna be raiding into my stream thing, my stream cover, whatever, my waiting room, my premiere for my graduation cover, which is now like the waiting room is up. If you didn't see it yet, I am going, like, I'm covering, well, you cover tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow. Oh my gosh, guys. Wait. It's the dawn of the last day. I just realized. We have 24 hours left. I'm gonna cry. We have 24 hours left. Not really 24 hours, like 28 more hours, I believe. 12, 28, like 48 hours, I think. We have 2 more days together. 1 day-ish, 2 days. I was really torn on what time to set my cover to be, because initially I set it to 12 AM on the 12th, which would have been before my graduation stream. So at least I could talk about it with you guys after the stream. But then I decided it would be much more fitting if my graduation stream raided into my cover. So I decided to do it that way instead. I think that I can still talk about the cover and the process of that during my graduation stream perhaps, but ultimately I decided like, hey, it's title End of a Life. I think it would be pretty fitting to end it there, like that way, to end it with the cover. Like that's the last thing that you hear from me. I got really emotional recording it. I think you'll be able to hear it in the cover. There is like a lot of emotion in that cover, and yeah, wow, it's so sad. Okay, goodbye. I'm gonna go to bed. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're gonna read into my cover premiere. And you guys can watch the trailer. I figured out the way to put up a trailer, so you guys can see that too, and I'll be in that chat. So thank you guys so much for coming. I will see you guys tomorrow for my last member stream and also drawing, and then the day after that will be my graduation stream. Okay? All right. Bye bye. Thank you for coming.